Have you ever wondered how a structure could remain standing for nearly 5,000 years, while entire empires vanished into the desert dust around it like a badly built sandcastle? Hey there! Welcome to the lab. I'm Professor Zapnik, and I must report that the air is a bit dustier than usual today because we're putting one of humanity's most mind-blowing projects under the microscope. When we look at the Giza Plateau, we aren't just seeing massive piles of stone perfect for a selfie. No, my friends, that is the engineering genius of the Old Kingdom and a "I will outlast eternity" type of defiance against the sand. This story started roughly 4,500 years ago. Pyramids didn't just pop up like mushrooms after rain. They were the result of a hardcore experimental process. In the beginning, they buried people in flat, rectangular tombs called mastabas. Then came Pharaoh Djoser and his brilliant architect, Imhotep, who thought, what if we just stacked a few mastabas on top of each other? Thus, the Step Pyramid of Saqqara was born. That was the first big leap toward the sky. Later, Pharaoh Sneferu became almost obsessed with testing designs. His famous bent pyramid, for example, looks like a failed cake because halfway through, they realized the 4-degree angle was so steep that the stones started to crack under their own weight. Sneferu's son, Khufu, or as the Greeks nicknamed him, Cheops, learned from this mistake and built the great masterpiece at Giza. Building the Great Pyramid of Giza was real-deal logistical brain surgery. We're talking about more than 2.3 million stone blocks, each weighing an average of 2.5 tons. Just a heads up, that's the weight of a full-grown African elephant, but made of stone. They used local limestone for the core, but lined the king's chamber with granite brought from faraway Aswan and covered the whole thing in blindingly white limestone. It shone so brightly in the sun you probably couldn't even look at it without sunglasses. Wheels and cranes? Forget it. The crew solved it using wooden sleds slid over wetted sand in clever ramps. And let's clear up a myth. It wasn't built by whipped slaves. The latest findings show that a mix of professional craftsmen and seasonal workers, mostly farmers, worked on it, giving their labor as a form of tax during the Nile's flood season. In return, they got meat, beer, and bread. So, it was a kind of ancient, all-inclusive construction project that unified the nation. And the geometry. Oh, that's a real Zapnik treat. The pyramids were aligned with incredible precision to the cardinal points. Here's a mathematical riddle. Did you know that if you divide the perimeter of the Great Pyramid by twice its height, you get a number suspiciously close to the value of pi? We aren't sure if it was intentional or if the Egyptians just had a really good eye for harmony, but it's enough to make any scientist scratch their head. The inside wasn't any simpler. The shafts weren't just for ventilation. Some researchers believe they were spiritual highways, pointing directly toward Orion's belt or the North Star, so the pharaoh's soul wouldn't get lost in space on the way home. Unfortunately, we rarely find mummies or gold in them today because tomb robbers realized pretty early on that if it's this big, there must be something valuable inside. But no worries. The graffiti scribbled onto the stones by the workers helps us date the construction better than any golden treasure could. As time went by, the pharaohs realized that a project this big was a bit hard on the state treasury, and the robbers found them too easily anyway. That's why they eventually switched to the Valley of the Kings and hidden tombs. Today, we use super technologies like muon radiography to see through the walls without moving a single stone. In fact, we recently found a massive, unknown void inside the Great Pyramid. That's why I love science. If we have a good plan and a bit of logic, we can create something that outlasts the end of the world. Well, that's it for today's Carved in Stone Magic. I hope you now see that the pyramids aren't just boring burial mounds, but victory monuments of the human mind over the impossible. Remember, science doesn't just live in books. It's right there in every single stone block that someone once sweated to push into place. I'm so glad you were here with me today. You're awesome. I'm Professor Zapnik. Keep your eyes open. because the world is full of codes waiting to be cracked. The lab is closing for today, but don't worry, we'll meet again soon. The discovery never stops.